wanna be step 4. Everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Welcome to Tales from the Field. We are back and better than ever. My name is Bradley Ball, and it's so good to have you with us. Last week, we had Remerit hopefully on the Tuesday show. Josh hosted. I was disqualified. Neeraj won, and Neeraj will be our host today. On Thursday, we had Luis Camino from the Power Up program on, and we covered so much great community content. All of those links are available on the roundtable underneath the comments for the show posted on YouTube. But if you haven't seen those, don't worry, stay right there. The show is posted to YouTube after the live stream, and you can check it out at your convenience. And if you want to interact with the show, right now we are streaming on the Twitter account of Tales FT Field, Tales from the Field. Also streaming on my LinkedIn account under SQL Balls. So head over and tweet or comment on those streams, or you can go to our YouTube channel for Tales from the Field and comment directly on the stream there. Don't forget, this week is SQL Saturday Orlando and SQL Saturday Boston. For Orlando, Gina Marinoff, Jeff Taylor, Dave Mason, Nigel Sammy, Kevin Fizel, Andreas Padilla, Rob Volk, Brad Schacht, and more are going to be there presenting. Go check out that great live event if you are in the Orlando area. For Boston, Monica Rathbaum, Andy Leonard, Steve Jones, Joey DeAntoni, George Walters, Brandon Leach, John Morehouse, John Miner, Alan Hurt, Aaron Dempsey, and more. Go to SQL Saturday Boston if you're in the Boston area and click on that event to sign up. Our great friend Tiaba Lee is helping to run that event, and we hope that everybody has a fantastic event. And of course, before we go any further, let me introduce my co-host. I am joined by the wonderful Andreas Padilla, Josh Ludeman, the Sweetness, aka Primetime, aka Mr. Monday Night, the Playmaker, the Minister of Defense, the one, the only, your host and mine, Neeraj Jafari. Neeraj, you're the host. Congratulations, buddy. What's our topic?
Thanks, Brad. So the topic for today is Synapse. Synapse is really big, but we want to know how do we start from? How do we start Synapse on? And let's see. And we have a special guest, so definitely we want to talk on that.
You're absolutely right. As if it couldn't get any better. We have Brad Schacht, aka Bradley Schacht, over on Twitter. Principal Product Manager, Mr. Principal himself, from the Azure Synapse Product Group. That introduction, though, doesn't do him justice. I need to just tell you more about Brad. He works with some of the biggest and the most complex customers in the world adopting Synapse solutions. He's presented at international conferences, user groups throughout the United States. He's a damn good-looking man, and he has the best first name of any guest that we've had so far. So welcome, Brad. I'm so glad you could join us.
Thank you. Happy to be here. I must say it is an honor to be introduced by somebody also with the name Bradley.
So what's going on with you two? Is this already starting Brad's, brown nosing to get points off the gate? I mean, really? Are we really starting there?
It's not brown nosing if it's just fact. I'm stating nothing more than fact.
No, there's shameless smooching of the rear. No, shameless smooching of the rear.
All above board.
I sense massive jealousy coming from Josh today.
Just calling him as I see him, dude. I'm calling him as I see him. That's a fastball high and inside, man. You're going for the head on that.
I have no idea what he's talking about. Clearly, he's delusional.
Yeah, well, I mean, anybody that thinks that ninjas are better than pizza has to be delusional. Also,
dude.
At what point? One other question before I, make sure that everybody understands pizza's better. But at what point during the show do we do hat jokes?
Now.
Now.
Time. Oh, yeah. Oh,
no. Don't go after the hat. You'll regret it. So here's the deal. Though. With pizzas versus ninjas, one can attack the other and survive. Pizza can't really defend itself against the katana. It just gets sliced. It's done.
Have you ever heard of heart disease?
Pizza is better.
Yeah,
than
caused by pizza.
Josh,
Yeah.
wouldn't you agree?
It's a death
Of
blow
course
that it
not,
can
because
deal
you're
you.
stupid and you
Okay.
smell like dookie.
Pizza takes years to kill you with heart disease. Ninjas, done. That's it.
Yeah,
Out.
but you can enjoy the pizza the entire time.
I was gonna say.
Not when you two come and start talking about your pineapple on pizza and stuff.
Okay, well that's
All right. Well,
just
that's
a whole
specifically
separate
me, and that's pineapple and pepperoni, the balance of salt and spice, and it has to be a very particular kind. It's not just any that you can do. It's got to be a greasy New York piece with spicy pepperoni. Otherwise, you don't want it on there. And that spicy pepperoni will be just fine without the pineapple.
Greasy and pepperoni, and here, let me throw fruit on it. Really?
All right, Josh, I feel like you're just trying to drive a wedge between the Brads, and it's not going to work. You're not going to drive a wedge between us with
No,
pineapple
I am.
balls.
Don't we
I
have
am
enough
totally
crazy
just
stuff in the world
squashing.
going on right now?
I am squashing pizza. That's all I'm doing.
Also, fun fact: the a slice of pizza generally mirrors the price of a subway ride in New York City.
Ooh,
Did you guys know that?
That is correct.
that is a
Also,
fun fact.
if you want to go trace the lineage all the way back, Josh, pizza has been around longer, since around 977 AD. The first ninja wasn't even until like 1336.
I know.
Do you even know your ninja history?
Well, I was going to say
the
clearly
Zynga,
he is
yeah.
lacking on the Pizza Ninja Wars and the history, the long and illustrious history of the two
It
groups.
really is.
300 points because he did a Wikipedia search? Really?
Hey, pizzafax.com.
What the hell
get it
is
right.
this? What? I didn't even see how many zeros there were there. I don't even know how many billions I lost.
Well, clearly doesn't like ninjas or doesn't like pizza, likes ninjas, can't count. Josh is just,
There's
not
just not a whole
very
lot
well.
going in that category for him.
I do like his hats. At least he's got something to distract from the rest of.
What the
Everything
hell?
going on up there.
Exactly.
Wow.
Maybe a
Wow,
ninja
that's
t-shirt.
harsh.
Let's get
So-
Josh a ninja t-shirt.
Well, I was going to say, I definitely think we should. I'm disappointed that he doesn't have one on today. I would have thought this was the perfect opportunity for a ninja t-shirt.
Honestly, I was thinking about it, as the music was starting, and I do have one of the Windows Ninja Cat shirts, and I did not wear it. So that is a missed opportunity. I take full responsibility for it. But it does not belittle ninjas in any way, and they can still kick a pizza's butt. See, caught myself.
Wow.
Caught myself.
Wow.
Kept it PG. Kept it PG.
I was going to say language much.
No.
So let's move along with the show a little bit before we cause Josh to have a coronary. Neeraj,
almost
you're
there.
our host this week. Why don't you remind us, what are the rules for the show?
So as a host, I cannot be a winner next week again, but the topic that I brought it up, so I want you two guys to discuss it out. But before we start discussing it out, let's give Brad some opportunity to speak whatever he wants to talk on, except Pizza versus Ninja.
Oh, well, I didn't come
I mean,
prepared with anything.
or Josh is going to lose. I mean, Josh is already losing.
Yeah, I have to redo everything that I was going to say now because all I had was an hour and a half of pizza content.
I'm here for that, by the way.
We'll have a
Oh, good.
We'll have a
He has an
separate
audience.
webcast.
He has an audience of one. There you go. Okay, continue, sir. Continue.
Anyway, pizza is also a staple of the developer community who builds all these products that we're going to talk about. You just gonna toss that out there. So,
Yeah, it's because they don't have tastes. Continue.
Oh, ouch.
Dang.
I need to apologize to all the developers out there.
No.
My co-host.
So actually, a better reason for that, they don't. They're
think you should
budget
stop.
restricted and have to stick with
roll
belittled
that back in.
belittled food. Even better.
Wow. Man.
That's-
Well, let's see if we can bring this back to a topic we can all agree about.
I'm just flailing here. I'm just flailing.
Clearly.
So I work with I work with Synapse every day. It's a really interesting product. I come from a background of doing consulting and business intelligence work, so I've seen this whole landscape of the data world change over the last 10 years or so. And Synapse is one of the really interesting places that Microsoft is focused on the data world. So, this traces its lineage all the way, back to 10 years ago plus, with on-prem appliances, with the PDW and the APS, and then we moved it into the cloud and made it cloud born and ready up there. But Synapse today, it's a kind of a loaded term. There's a whole lot of stuff in there. If you go back even just like 3 or 4 years ago, if we were sitting here talking about Synapse, we'd just be talking about a database engine. And now, Synapse is a lot more. There's pipelines inside of there. So if you want to move data around, you can do that. We've got Spark notebooks inside there. So if Josh, I know you used to build Hadoop clusters and want to go into Linux and do all that weird stuff and everything. So, you don't even have to set up all that now. You can just go run some PySpark or some Scala code in there. We've got serverless pools. So we're not just taking the SQL engine anymore and making you load a bunch of data and do all this work to go into it. Now you can just build out a data lake, because the whole modern data lake is a big topic these days as well, and building out those lakehouse environments. So, and then I think kind of the unsung hero, or the hidden gem rather, inside of Synapse is actually going to be Azure Data Explorer, Synapse Data Explorer. So if you've got these really big data sets with telemetry and everything, then these immutable data sets, it's going to be able to crunch through that really fast. If you've ever been in Azure and just used the monitoring that's built into Azure and go to look at the metrics or anything, you've actually used Data Explorer before. So there's a lot of scale that goes behind that. I think the cool thing about Synapse in general, though, with all these things that I just mentioned inside of there, is really that you can bring any size data to it and do whatever you want. So we've got customers that I've worked with in the past that have just a smaller data sets, in the couple terabyte range, but they need to do a lot of computations against it or run machine learning, those kind of things against it. Then we can handle those things. I'm working with customers right now where we're moving, petabyte plus data into Synapse and doing all kinds of cool stuff on it, whether that's trying to do real-time analytics or historical reporting and all these sort of things. So, there's a lot that you can do in between those. And we're trying to make this really the best platform, from data acquisition all the way through data visualization on the Power BI side. And that's actually one of the things I'll be talking about this weekend that you had mentioned there at SQL Saturday Orlando, talking about how we're using Power BI and Synapse to be better together. So just a lot of really cool things inside there. It's a landscape that's constantly changing. We're pushing updates out to Synapse monthly now, and bringing in new things like multi-column distribution. If you got these really big data sets, you're coming over from Teradata. We just GA'd the merge functionality inside of there that people have been waiting for a long time. So a lot of really cool and interesting things happening. But we do recognize it is a really big platform and a lot of things to wrap your head around. And a couple of things that my team has been putting together. They're the team that I'm a part of, not my team specifically, but we try to make it,
and humble. I mean, come on.
I do what I can.
God, me too.
Hey, Josh, just change your name to Brad and join the club, and then you'll be fine.
There we go. I told you.
Why would I tarnish myself with that?
Oh.
Well,
Josh,
I don't know what to say to that,
really?
Honestly.
I don't either.
There's no helping you.
Sorry, we were talking about your team. Yeah.
So we put together some guidance. So we've got this thing called Success by Design. So if you go to aka.ms/Synapse Success by Design, we've got guidance out there for you to help you get started, whether you're doing some of these migrations from other platforms. If you just want to know what are the best practices for Synapse and how to get started, we try to help you navigate that world and get up and running as quick as possible. We've also got things like a security white paper out there, because Microsoft's got this whole zero trust thing that we're doing now and trying to make everything secure by default. So we're trying to help you navigate that landscape with some of the resources that are out there. And then for those of you who might be out there and are already using it, Then we've got something else called the Synapse Toolbox. So a couple of the folks on the team have put together all kinds of scripts that we use every single day, because we sit there with customers and we say, all right, well, you guys are hitting performance issues, or you're running into this problem or that problem. How can we help you make sense of all of the telemetry out there and get to insights faster and to fix that? So a lot of really good resources that we've got posted out there on the documentation, but a lot of fun stuff going on in there.
And the great thing is, these are resources that customers right now, if they are running Azure Synapse Analytics and they have dedicated pools, or they have other things using where they're using a workspace, they could go and deploy this right now. They might not even realize that they have the capability to be able to use some of the items from the toolbox to begin monitoring their solutions, to be able to drill down on it. Typically, you would think, you need a third-party provider, or you need all these different things in place to be able to do this. But this is a great way for them to just go and set this up and get this right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. For sure.
Wow. Fantastic stuff, Brad. Thanks. Really amazing.
Thanks, Brad. That was really useful. Josh, anything you want to add on it?
So for me, I wanted to kind of second what Brad was talking about in all seriousness. Being able to see the maturation.
I'm sorry. It just takes me back.
It's seeing the maturation of the product back from SQL DW to now, and encompassing everything. It used to be, and I use the term about it as, SQL DW was a one-trick pony, really, in a lot of ways, because all it was SQL pools. Now Synapse has brought in the tools like the Spark that you referred to, but also the pipelines, so like that data factory functionality as well, and the serverless pools. Now it's analytics for everybody, not just analytics for those petabyte customers backing up, 18 wheelers full of data, so to speak, up to the data center. Now, folks with vans come in, and, smaller data sets that you referred to, so it's not just the huge data. It's now, it's democratizing that functionality for everybody.
Makes sense.
What? No points? It just makes sense.
No. I'm giving
Okay. I see how it is.
Brought you back to the lead now.
Oh, thank you.
Whoa! Wait, how many points was that?
I'm not sure that was a lead. I think that was just even.
Even, yeah. You became even now.
It's better than in the garbage can.
I would say you get like 50 extra points for agreeing that it's a cool platform, and another 100 for using a fun word like democratization. And I like vehicles, so I'll even, award you another 50 points for using multiple delivery units. However, you do still think pizza is not as good as a Ninja. So I think
because it's not.
I would say that we have to subtract like 200 million points or something like that. Whatever that number was, just
that seems right. That seems fair.
So I think fair is a good way.
Equitable,
to
yes,
equitable even. Yeah.
So Brad,
that's enough out of the peanut Brad over there in the corner. That's enough of that.
So when I start thinking about Synapse, right, we're talking about how Synapse is a big topic. How do people begin with it? One of my favorite things right now is serverless pools. Serverless pools are just a tremendous addition to the Synapse Analytics workspace, but you don't have to just access them via the workspace, right? You could access them via their endpoint using Azure Data Studio or SSMS. They have a wider T-SQL workspace. You could create multiple databases. And granted, it's underlying with flat files. But what that allows you to do is create databases. You could use granular level SQL permissions to be able to grant access to specific schemas. And then you also have the capability to create views of those tables that users can then use as a regular table. And then once you do that, your T-SQL syntax is very, very similar to what you have in a SQL Server box. And so it's really easy for customers to be able to get up and running with it. It can work with small amounts of data. It can work with large amounts of data. It's incredibly flexible. And the thing is, I look at that, and it's one of the biggest additions that I think of that we use. There's an old white paper on the Polaris engine, and that is the Polaris engine at work. Sometimes I'll go and I'll present to user groups, or I presented at conferences on the Polaris engine, specifically to talk about how different it is. and I will take and I will do a comparison of the concurrency, and I try and keep it, reasonable. I use the small workload class, so that way I can parallelize that. But I'll do SQL stress test against a dedicated pool using an external table, and a SQL serverless pool using an external table. And I'll show how we can get more concurrent connections to the serverless pool to an external table than you can on a dedicated pool. But again, it's the right tool for the right job, right? Because if I want to put indexes on data, I'm going to put it in a dedicated pool. There's a lot of good reasons. There's a lot of power behind a dedicated pool and the distributions that you have, and that you can segment up, scale up your compute, and that you can be able to do your MPP workloads specifically with that. But the serverless pools really allow a lot of additional flexibility. And also many times when customers are looking at dropping something into a data lake, and they're looking at then loading it into, say, a Power BI data set for a Power BI report to report against, they can shortcut that process. Instead of having to load that into a dedicated pool, they can use a serverless pool to make that connection directly to Power BI, to be able to get that from data lake straight to ingestion, to be able to bring those reports up to date a bit faster. So there's a lot of really great architectures that can use this. There are data scientists that do prefer to use T-SQL. I've worked with customers where they've been using T-SQL for forever, and they would rather use that in notebooks to be able to do part of their discovery process before they load the data into Power BI, to be able to do the visualizations they need to show the patterns that they found, to be able to get that reporting intelligence off of the data. So I look at serverless and I see it as, it's only a year and a half old, and Microsoft has a way of improving things over time. I just see so much potential benefit for that to improve and grow over time, over what we have right now. And even what we have right now is stellar.
Yep, agreed completely. How about you, Andreas?
Well, real quick, I just want to say that's the kind of complete, deep, insightful type of answer that I would have expected from somebody named Brad and someone who enjoys pizza.
Thank you.
So, I would have probably have to award you 2,427 points for that answer.
And I just want to make sure if you ever come down to Orlando and you want to stop by, I have pizza ready and willing to go for you any point in time.
That would be lovely. And I would love to break pizza with you sometime. Maybe we can go egg Josh's house after.
That sounds great.
Yeah, good luck getting in the gate. Good luck getting in the gate.
Absolutely. You can come. We can't jump a gate. It can't even keep a ninja out. It can't keep us out.
So my gate is strong.
Don't worry. His wife will let me in.
Before we go to Andreas, I want to ask Andreas, is it pizza or ninja?
I'm leaning on pizza here, you guys. So
you're not just saying that to pad the points, are you?
Oh, he totally is.
I am. I'm what you call a mercenary, So I'll sell myself to whoever gives me more points, basically. Yeah. Thank you. Is it? Oh, so I have the floor. Do I finally have the floor?
Yeah, I think it's your turn.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to file a formal complaint once again, 4 weeks in a row. This is my fourth formal complaint. Bradley finds a way to introduce a way to skew the contest and find a way to go in his direction. I'm pleading to the audience to help me find a way to mitigate this for myself. It's impossible that I've only won once, and you've seen the content, you've seen the videos. I'll leave it to that. Formal complaint. Judges noted. Yes, noted. Yep. Formal complaint. Next.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I was going to say we have 4 equal pillars. I've only won once. You've won once. We've all won once at this point in time. If it's such a conspiracy, why didn't I set this up where I could win week after week? I just would have appointed myself.
That doesn't sound like the character of someone named Brad that would
probably
do something
not
like that. So I don't know if that has merit.
True. I just feel, a little that Brad comes in with other Brads. There's not many Andreases out there. It's really hard for me to find my counterpart. So for next time, moving on to bigger and better things, Synapse. What do I want to say? oh my God, where do I start with this? I start off with, I get integration for my Azure pipelines. You know, I can Azure DevOps the heck out of that thing. I have granular access control. Who can get into, who can pull up a SQL dedicated pool? Who can pull up an Apache Spark pool? Who can create data explorer pools? I get that granular control in one shop. I get the ability to work in Python, T-SQL if I wanted to. And then my last thing that I love, my data governance, my data discovery, my data exploration, I get to connect with Purview if I wanted to. If I want to tap in and see all that lineage, where the data is coming from, where it's landing, who has access with Azure Purview, I get that within Synapse. I can't ask for anything more. I mean, you know, the GitHub integration, granular access control, Purview account, beautiful.
Yep.
Well, solid, and I do appreciate that pizza is in fact better than ninjas, and you completely agree with that. I think the character assassination there really brought down the validity of your answer a little bit, but
thank you.
I would say I would still say it was very solid, and I would say that you probably get a couple 100,000, maybe even 1 million points for that.
Ooh, that's good,
but not quite enough. I don't think.
No.
I don't have the official tally or anything, but.
Who's winning? Someone's. I see a lot of typing back there going on.
Well, I was going to say I can't tally the points.
I'm doing the tallying right now, but I mean, one thing that I want to discuss was CICD. I mean, Brad, you have a couple of videos out there you have created for CICDs with Synapse. Maybe you want to speak something on that?
Yeah, you know, as a matter of fact, one of the things we were talking about doing was introducing some additional MS Tech Bytes or Tech Bits to our channel. And I've got a 5 blog post series right now on using CICD at the data architecture blog on technet.microsoft.com. So if folks want to go to that, that's a wonderful thing that they can go to. And I walk all the way through the process of connecting an Azure Synapse Analytics workspace to a DevOps workspace, and then also how we make a build pipeline, how we make a release pipeline, how we create a QA out of an ARM template, and how we push content from dev all the way over to QA. There's additional things that I've done that I have not blogged yet, but I was going to say there's a ton of capabilities, and DevOps are a really, really nice feature that we have in Azure Synapse. As a matter of fact, one thing I will say to folks is keep in mind, don't try and utilize ADF scripts for Synapse scripts. I noticed there's some PowerShell scripts out there for CI/CD for ADF, and I had a customer yesterday where I was pulled into an issue that they had, and they were trying to use YAML pipelines that were built for ADF. Those call specific different objects underneath the covers than YAML pipelines and for Synapse and for some of the Synapse components. So really what you want to do is you want to make sure and use ADF stuff for ADF work. Don't try and use ADF for Synapse pipeline work. Some of the PowerShell scripts, again, that go out, they're specific .NET components. It's not going to work the way that that you believe it would in PowerShell. In YAML as well, you want to make sure we're calling the right Synapse components as well. But I think that's something that we're looking at adding to the site because there's been so many folks that I mean, it's still one of the most popular blog series out there. The last time I looked, part 4, which was the release pipeline, had 30,000 views on it. And I'm still answering questions on that comment thread today. So if you have a question, put it in there. I get emailed when people have a question, and I go through and I try and add detailed responses. But I really had a lot of fun trying to understand and figure out how we use CI/CD for our customers, especially with Synapse.
Actually, and before you come back in, Neeraj, I wanted to throw this out. Dan Taylor actually has a good question in the chat on YouTube, and we love Dan, friend of the show. Wanted to throw it in here to Mr. Schacht. Speaking of granular control, do we plan on rolling out custom RBAC roles in the Synapse workspace?
Great question. We actually get that request quite a bit right now. It's something that we brought up to the feature PM team. I don't know of anything that's in the pipeline right now to put that out, but I will say there is work that's gone into the built-in Synapse roles over the last 2 years or so. And probably about 8 months or so ago, we actually added a couple more roles in there and expanded some of the functionality and flexibility on that to be able to go a little bit more granular. So probably not quite to the level that Dan is looking for there, but it's certainly a place where we'd love to have some feedback and see where we can improve on that.
That's great.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And that's one of the key things to any customer who may be seeing this, who's watching it, or anybody who's working with Azure. Our product groups are always looking for feedback, and there's multiple different places online that you can go to be able to voice that feedback. There is a voice of feedback site as well. I don't know that we have the link off the top of my head, but I was going to say there are a lot of different places where you can enter in this feedback. But I know if you're working with us and the Fast Track team, that's product feedback that we will enter in, that we will meet with the product group monthly, and that will be feedback that we give as well. All right. So I think that's it for this. Wow. Oh,
Ooh,
What the heck?
that's not looking
What?
great over there.
apparently
How is
there was
this-
a ninja playing.
This isn't even possible. This
accept-
is rigged.
Oh,
this is rigged.
humbly.
Andres was right. The fix is in. That's it.
All right.
That seems very legitimate to me. Those numbers look like
It
they add
does.
up.
That pace is where mine was at, and I guess on top of it, I just have to say, suck it, Ludeman.
Whatever.
All right. So a quick reminder, this Thursday is our community roundtable. We're going to have a special guest, Lonnie Bauer, joining us. Lonnie has a long history in the gaming industry. She's working with us currently over on the Fast Track team. She is exceptional, and I can't wait for her to join us. And we're going to talk about all the different community articles that we can find out there. Again, if you have any community articles that you would like to submit, go to one of our YouTube sites and comment, put it in the channel. Hit us up on Twitter. All the Twitter addresses are right there in our names right now. We would be happy to be able to feature someone. Just let us know what it is you're doing, because we're so excited about all the great content that people are contributing to the community. Remember to sign up for Microsoft Ignite. It is free. It is happening very, very soon. Not this week, but in the middle of next week, we will be at Microsoft Ignite, and we have some special guests planned for next week as well. That's going to be a lot of fun. And also, let's not forget the consulting one-on-ones at Microsoft Ignite. You can go in there, and there is an option to be able to get a consulting one-on-one with someone from Microsoft. If you select the fast tracked option and you're looking for assistance with data, myself, Neeraj, Andreas, multiple people on our team are all eligible. We have signed up, and we are accepting consulting engagements right now. It auto comes in and down to our calendar. So there's a good chance you might be able to meet with one of us and talk with us. That's our Twitter account, Tails FT Field. And then next, I want to make sure I remind you of Live 360. And Josh, where is Live 360 again?
Live 360 is at the beautiful Universal Studios, Orlando, Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort.
I was going to say it is my favorite conference every single year. I go and I stay at this hotel, and I live here locally. I can make it over to Universal Studios in about 20 minutes. I will still go get a hotel room at this resort every now and then. It is just a wonderful, fantastic place to stay. The conference atmosphere is absolutely electric. They recently had the first Power Apps conference at the same facilities that we're going to be at for Live 360. And if you want to see the pre-con that myself, Josh Ludeman, and Buck Woody are doing, go to aka.ms/live360. That will take you to that pre-con page. Please sign up. We would love to see you there. Comment from Dan Bradley Schacht. Thank you so much for being on the show and keeping up the great work with the Synapse team. Completely echo that sentiment.
Thank you guys for having me.
No problem. Gentlemen, do we have anything else to cover?
Just the pizzas.
Just the pizza. You're right. It is definitely pizza time.
Yeah, time to throw it in the garbage. All right, everybody.
We will see you on Thursday. Thanks again for tuning in.
Got to get the last word.
Pizza is better than ninjas.
Ninjas.